بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد قال الله تعالى إن أول بيت وضع للناس للذي ببكة مباركا وهدى للعالمين فيه آيات بينات مقام إبراهيم ومن دخله كان آمنا ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا ومن كفر فإن الله غني عن العالمين. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم العمرة في رمضان تعدل حجة أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair for everyone coming tonight for this short Umrah presentation. First thing I'd really like to know is, are there any brothers and sisters here going with us for Umrah? MashaAllah. All right, excellent, good. And also, if I can ask, how many of us are going for the first time? We've never been. All right, MashaAllah, excellent. So this is very exciting to see. For those of you going for the first time, inshallah ta'ala, this will be an unforgettable experience, inshallah. So the first thing I want to start with is that the Umrah that we are going to do, we want to talk about a little bit about the virtues in the beginning. We're going to talk a little bit about the fada'il, and then we go a little bit about the intention and what we're going for. And then very quickly we'll go over some of the rulings of the Umrah, and then we will conclude with some of the etiquettes that should be observed. And after that, towards the end of the program, we are going to give out the ihram and then the visa and the package that you're supposed to get, inshallah. So the first part of the program I'll do real quickly, and then Brother Tayyib will take care of the logistics, inshallah. All right. So because, okay, just one second, we have an announcement.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to introduce Brother Tayyib of Accra Travel, and you'll see his table in the back. And Brother Tayyib has been very helpful to our masjid, always supporting us. And the group that's going for Umrah with Sheikh Obair was arranged by Brother. You still have more openings? People can still sign up to go?
No, it's completely sold out.
Oh, it's sold out.
Request, I'll try to see if I can put it in tomorrow.
Inshallah, but for the spring, maybe in March.
Yes, inshallah.
Okay, so please be nice to him.
Assalamu alaikum. I'll let Sheikh Obair start the seminar about the Umrah, and after he's done, we will take question and answer, and we will call one by one who's going, inshallah, and we'll give the packet and the visa and everything to you. Thank you.
All right. So let me continue, because I don't think we'll be able to cover all these slides. We're just going to have to go through them. What I was saying is that we're not going to go in too much detail, and the reason for that is we're going to do this again, inshallah, there in the city of the Prophet ﷺ in Madinatul Munawwara. And the reason we do it again, we're going to do it more in detail right before we actually go for the Umrah. I'll be there myself, Sheikh Harmoon, Sheikh Yasir Qadi, he'll be there, and we will go over in detail right before we go, because many a times you learn something, and when some time goes, the gap goes, you forget about it. A brother asked me if we're going to talk about Hajj right now as well. I would love to do that, but the issue is that by the time Hajj comes, a lot of that information will be gone. So that's why we try to do it right before we do the action. So first and foremost, the fada'il, the virtues. Before you do any action, you should know about what do you get out of this action. You need to encourage yourselves and your family. What is the virtue? What is the fada'il? What are the rewards I'm going to get? Why am I doing this? For every deed, not just for Umrah. Salah, when you have your children, when you encourage them for Salah, don't just tell them to pray. Why are they praying? What is the reward they will get? When we talk about reward, that motivates us to go. And that's the intention today for those who have already gone here, or those who have never gone and are not coming with us this time but have intention. So we want you to make intention from now, inshallah ta'ala. So that's the first thing. Before any deed, the correct intention. Why are we going in this trip? To please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this should be a transformative trip to change our lives. So the first fadila and the virtue of Umrah is that the hadith I mentioned, the first hadith I mentioned is that one Umrah done in the month of Ramadan is equal to a Hajj. Okay? So the best time to do Umrah is when? Ramadan, if you're able to. If you're not able to do it in Ramadan, then any other time of the year that you get, and alhamdulillah, this time that we're going is going to be one of the best times because it's the least crowded. It's always crowded, but it'll be the least crowded. So that's one virtue, how great it would be to do it in that certain time. The second thing is the forgiveness of sins. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-umratu ila al-umrah tukaffiru ma baynahuma. That one umrah to the other umrah, it will expiate, it will atone, it will remove sins. And that's what every one of us wants. It's the removal of sins from our lives. Not only will it do that, but it removes totally the sins away, like the way when you put iron in fire, all of the dust and all of the filth, as it removes, the way when a person does Umrah, that is the way their sins are forgiven. The second thing is it removes poverty. Poverty and want is removed. Does it mean that you become wealthy and rich? Some scholars says you can take that meaning. Yes, many people have become independent would be the meaning. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills, then yes, why not? Because good deeds, just like sins are a reason of deprivation of sustenance, good deeds are a means of bringing barakah in the sustenance. So when the more good you do, the more barakah and blessing you will have in your wealth and in your health, inshallah ta'ala. So the third thing is that not only are your sins forgiven and the poverty is removed, but one of the hadith of Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu says that the Umar, those who come for Umrah and Hajj are the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine you are called as a guest of Allah. What an honor. Not just a guest of anyone, but the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And imagine your host, how good they take care of you. So imagine Allah, who is the most generous, how would His treatment be with us? He's the most merciful. So these are all amazing virtues to think about. And the Prophet ﷺ said, Tabi'u bayn al-hajj wal-umrah. He said, do the hajj and umrah one after the other, meaning try to do them as often as possible, because that's the best thing you can do for yourselves. Do them as much as possible. Now you would say that, hey, wait, I know about Umrah, but Hajj, to do it again and again, sometimes it takes me people years just to save up. But wallahi, it's about the intention and the niyyah. If your niyyah is strong, and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts it, He will make ways for you. He will make ways. Every year there are people, we have one or two people in this gathering as well, that had no expectations to go, didn't even have the means to go, and they're on our trip. They're with us today, going on the trip. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He calls someone, all the other things don't matter. No money, no wealth, no health, no nothing matters. If Allah calls, that's like other scholars say, that's the true visa. You actually got your visa because Allah has called you. Otherwise, dear brothers and sisters, there are people, if they want to go for Umrah and Hajj, not only can they go every year, some people can go Umrah every month if they want. Allah has blessed them that much. But it is not the wealth that people can go with. There are people who are very wealthy, yet haven't gone maybe for years, maybe for their whole lives. So that's something to contemplate. That it is Allah who accepts for good deeds, and if He has accepted us to go, we should be grateful to the highest level. And for those who have not had a chance to go, we beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the ability and make it easy for us, to make all of the arrangements for us that we may go. So those are some of the things there. Then it says here, as we can see, that before we leave for this blessed trip, resolve outstanding differences, ill feelings, disputes. Don't have any grudges with anybody before you leave. I would actually rather emphasize on some of these beginning parts more than the actual Umrah, because the actual Umrah is very simple and it's not too long. How many, for those who have never gone, how long do you think the Umrah is? Couple of hours, okay? Couple of hours. If you go on Wikipedia, it says 7 days for some reason. Never look at Google or Wikipedia for your information. It says 7 days, I don't know why. It takes like 2-3 hours, maybe 4 hours. You can actually take a break while you're doing the Umrah, go to sleep, come back and continue as well. But the point is, Umrah is only a couple of hours. The trip that you're taking, the traveling that you're going to be doing, the free time that you're going to have, those are the things, if you spend them correctly, they will have the impact on your actual Umrah. Okay, that's what I want to mention. So before you leave and you travel, resolve those differences, number one. Pay off debts. If it's an ongoing debt, like something that's going to take 20 years, 15 years, something long, that's different. If it's an immediate debt that is necessary that you have to pay that off. Seek forgiveness. Make sure you have a will. Not just when you go for Hajj and Umrah, you should have one as a believer, as a believing man, as a believing woman. Because let's say you travel and something happens, God forbid, then what will happen back home? Many things happen. And when it comes to property matters and all of those things, you have to be very careful, right? So make sure you have that done if you can. If you have the time in these few days, please do it. It's not difficult. But every one of us should be prepared in that way as well. Because one of the hadith comes, and I'm not using this hadith to scare anyone, but just to bring a little reality. It comes in the hadith in Riyadh al-Salihin that sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends for a person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a person travel because that person's death is written at a certain place. This is why always be prepared before you leave for everything and anything. But again, when we go for the Umrah, we go for the Hajj, we ask Allah to bring us back again and again, and that we travel safely and we come back safely and sound to our family, inshallah ta'ala. So these are some of the things. Make sure the wealth for Umrah is from halal sources. Maybe this is something that is very common sense and understood, but unfortunately, people today, they don't take the deen seriously. And this is why when we go in this trip, many people change their lives. They realize the importance of this deen, of this way of life. They realize the importance of the hereafter and the importance of their deeds. And this is why they change their ways. How do you know they change? They change the way their actions. They change the way they think. Many people today, even Muslims who might come to the masjid, might not 100% be, have halal sources. That's very, very important to do that. The hadith comes, a person is doing tawaf and he's begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he's asking Allah, and the answer comes that this person's dua is not accepted. Why? Lubsuhu haram wa ta'muhu haram wa kasbu fa'ina yustajab. Meaning this person's food is haram, this person's drink, this person's his clothes, all the wealth that he used to come for the Umrah or Hajj is coming from a haram source. So where can the dua be accepted in that case? This is why it's very, very important to make sure about this more than anything else. Now what do we do in our free time? What shall we do and how should we prepare? This is a list here. Again, we'll be sending some of these presentations to you guys, so you don't have to, but if you'd like, you can take pictures. Some of the things you'll need: documents, okay, vaccination, those things. But you know what? I would make sure I do not forget, of course, your travel documents. I'm hoping nobody forgets that when they travel, but especially your books. Books. This is your best friend. These will be your best friends. You have, I just brought this just to show, beautiful sunnahs of the Prophet ﷺ. You have perfecting the journey, a little bit about the Hajj and Umrah. You have the virtues of Hajj and Umrah, stories of the Sahaba. Then you have pictorial history of Mecca and Medina, every part of the holy cities in the world. Mecca, Medina, Jerusalem, Masjid al-Aqsa, the holiest sites to ever visit, you can know more about them. And trust me, in the traveling, the time that we have, and the moving around, you have a lot of free time. There are people, I'll tell you, there are two types of people. There's one group of people who will, during their wait time in the lobbies, during their wait time in the buses, During their wait time, there's one group of people who are doing tasbih, who are reading books, who are learning, who are teaching, who are using their time wisely, and another group of people who are looking around anxious to just move. For those people, time has stopped. It feels like hours and hours, and those are the people who start complaining, who start, just having a horrible time. Whereas they can utilize that time in the best way possible and learn knowledge and utilize their time. Imagine learning about the Prophet ﷺ's rawdah and every single, pillar in his masjid, and then going there and seeing it. Imagine learning the salah, the salam, the du'as to recite upon the Prophet ﷺ, the salam that you do upon the Sahaba, and then doing it right after that. So it's a whole different thing to be able to utilize your time in that way possible, right? These are the things. So anyways, before leaving home, getting ready for the trip, praying 2 rak'ah, to make the journey easy, and then, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the Umrah easy for us, and then, repent, meet your family and friends, make sure you leave in a good state. No one should be, upset, and trying the best that you can do. And remember, we'll be praying qasr the whole time. This is a very short trip. And before I get to that and distract you, I wanted to say that, look, when you have a blessing or a ni'mah, this is a test from Allah. This is a test. Every blessing comes with a test. We think about, and I'm thinking about this, I'm telling my family, I'm going next Saturday, I'll be back the following Saturday. How easy it is for us to just say that. Where are we going? We're not just going on a vacation. We're going to the most blessed place on the earth. The ayah was, Inna awwala bayt, the first place that Allah has made sacred, the Kaaba, the house of Allah, that is, it's connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for ta'zeem, for greatness. The house of Allah that every prophet visited. In some narrations, Adam alayhi salam to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, every prophet had done Hajj. And in some narrations, every prophet after Ibrahim alayhi salam had done the Hajj and has visited that house. And we are going to go see that Kaaba. And although it has no meaning in the sense that in it itself we don't worship it, we don't do it, but the fact that that land and that spot and the fact that Umar radiallahu anh said that, when he came to the Hajar al-Aswad, he said, oh rock, you are a rock, you don't benefit, you don't harm. And wallah, if I did not see my Prophet ﷺ kiss you, I would have never kissed you. That's how strong he was in his tawheed. But look at the love that he has, that this is the same rock the Prophet ﷺ kissed with his noble mouth. And this is the place where the Prophet ﷺ was born, and he walked. And so this is the place we will be going. Imagine that, having that, contemplating that. It's such a blessing that we cannot even imagine. And so we are being tested in this blessing that we go and we come back so quickly. We don't realize people in the past, you should read their stories, read the stories of the Sahaba, the Tabi'een, and the people not even too recent. How they traveled, how long it would take. Just from Mecca to Medina, it would take a week. And we are traveling and coming back and doing everything within a week. My mother-in-law, she went for Umrah, for Hajj, on a ship. My mother-in-law, in the 70s, I believe. It took her a month. Imagine that, throwing up, nausea, and you name it, all the difficulties. And we are going, I'm telling you this on purpose, especially those going for the first time. Just imagine the difficulty, how many months, sometimes weeks and months, and getting there was such an amazing, imagine that feeling. And then imagine us going in, Saudi Arabia, and we're checking, what seat we have and what's the food and the menu. And you have the most amazing flight, barely any noise, and it's as if you're in a hotel already, the whole time. 15 hours goes by, and we're complaining about our back and our feet, and the complaints start coming mostly, and I'm not blaming anybody here, but mostly from North America, from people who already have so much blessing. They can, start saying stuff. So the whole time we need to be in shukr. Allahumma lakal hamdu wa lakal shukr. Oh Allah, we thank you for giving us this chance. And we stay in dhikr and durud. So anyways, going forward. So when you're on the plane, try to have wudu beforehand. You're going to be in qasr, of course. You try to pray where you can. You try not to do the jama'ah in the plane. Some people become very enthusiastic and start having, a huge congregation. You cannot do that. You cannot bother people. You cannot get in the way of people. You don't want to do something like that. What are these socks here? So believe it or not, for those who are strict when it comes to the matter of leather socks and having the opinion that you may only do masah over the leather socks and not any other socks, or socks that are thick enough that you can walk at least 1.5 miles to 2 miles without them ripping. So how do you do that? It's very difficult to do with regular socks or the dress socks. You could do it with leather socks, and now they have these and similar to these that are made in such fabric that they are tested that no water will go through them. They're strong enough for that, and you can actually, what is the point of this? You can do masa. Masa means to pass your hand, your wet hand, over something. So we do masa of the fingers, right? So masa, doing the masa of the feet with those socks on. What's the point? You don't have to take your socks. It becomes easy when you're traveling, and you stay warm, and so it's good to take that. Anyways, going ahead, salah. Try not to miss the salah while you're traveling, and there's a lot of information here. Try to utilize your time wisely. Basically, that's the main thing. Now, when it comes to the ihram, which every one of us who are going, we're going to get. So ihram is basically the name of the cloth that you're wearing, but ihram is not just a cloth, right? It is actually the condition that you're in, right? Literally means to declare something unlawful, haram upon oneself. Haram, ihram, to make something haram. What becomes haram? All of those things which were halal otherwise. Having spousal relation, and we'll get over the things that are not halal anymore, but those are for the time that you're wearing the ihram. And it's commonly referred to the clothing worn by a person going for Umrah or Hajj, and it should be unstitched, and the meaning of that is not that it doesn't have any thread or anything, it's that it's open, that it could be wrapped. Something that could be wrapped, something that is not already wrapped around, something that can be wrapped. Dr. Yasir Qadhi, when he was doing his Umrah presentation, he was saying, those who are able to tie lungi, you guys know lungi, for those who are from the Indo-Pak, it's that, the little, the sheet that you wear and you tie up. If you're able to wear that, then you should be teaching us how to wear the ihram, because ihram, it takes a little bit of tying, and you use a belt if you can, and that helps you to move on. This is for the brothers. The sisters, of course, their ihram is their regular clothes. They don't have to worry. The actual meaning in the context of Sharia is the intention and the state of ihram. Once you make the intention, now you're in ihram. So you can even wear the ihram from here, but it doesn't mean you're in the state of ihram until you make the niyyah. Okay? So that's something that we have to understand. Next thing, I think that's it. Again, the state of ihram is not entered just by wearing, but you have to have the niyyah as well. All right, so what we're going to do here now is basically the Umrah. I'm going right to the Umrah. The actual schedule for us is that we're going to go to Madinatul Munawwara first, okay? And the reason we do that is because, firstly, logistically, it's a lot easier. A lot easier. Secondly, we have the ease of putting on the ihram from Medina. Otherwise, if you're traveling and you land in Jeddah and you don't have your ihram on, then you have to have a penalty. So for those stopping at Turkey, most people, they wear their ihram from Turkey and they make the niyyah. But otherwise, you go to Medina, you're relaxed, you can visit the Prophet's masjid and stay there and do all of the things that you do there, and then after make niyyah and then go to Umrah. That's the easiest way, and that's what we're going to do, inshallah. So what is the Umrah, and how do you do it? Very, very easy. First and foremost, you take ghusl, you cleanse yourself, you do all of the things that you need to do to clean up. Once you're done that, so for those of us that have never gone, we're basically going to do all of this in Medina from our hotels, okay? We do that in Medina from the hotels, and then we will, once we have done taking a shower, ghusl, you put on the ihram from the hotel, and then you get into the bus, and then we stop at the miqat. We stop. Miqat are those stations that are around the borders of the city, and every person from whichever area you're coming of the world, there's 7 different miqats. And so you're gonna, which the one we're gonna go for, I believe is Dhul Hulayfa. And so we are gonna stop there. You basically stop and you make the niyyah there. You pray 2 rak'at, the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that he prayed 2 rak'at, and then after you're done your 2 rak'at, you say labbaik Allahumma umrah. Oh Allah, I'm present, and accept my umrah from me, make it easy for me. So once you've made that intention, now you are in the state of ihram, and now you're going for the umrah. And the most beloved thing to do now is what? What is the thing that the mu'tamir, the one who's doing umrah, should be doing for both men and women? MashaAllah, it's called the talbiyah. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. So this is the talbiyah, meaning labbaik, oh Allah, I'm here, I'm answering your call. We have gone and we have answered the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we're doing this, and the talbiyah is very beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there are a lot of virtues for that. Inshallah, we will discuss that more in detail later. So now once you have the ihram, all of the things that were halal, having any type of spousal relationship, putting on perfume, cutting the hair, trimming the nails, and those kind of things are all, those are some of the main things, and then we'll go more in detail. But those are the main things that now have become haram, and now you have to be very careful. Okay? So you've made the niyyah. What's next now? The talbiyah is here, as you can see. So for the men, they're going to say it loudly. The women should say it quietly, but everyone should continue saying it. Niyyah and the talbiyah has begun. So the state of ihram has begun. You made the niyyah and you start doing talbiyah. So these are the summary there. Let me go ahead. So okay. Forbidden acts in ihram. Sins, of course, you shouldn't do sins anyways. You're in ihram, you're not supposed to be sinning. Foul language, fighting, quarreling are strictly forbidden. You know what surprises me? I'm going to say something here, and not to have anybody think, negatively, but in the state of ihram, if you are not aware that you're in ihram and you don't know what you're doing, many times people forget totally where they are and what they're actually doing. They forget the sanctity of that place and the sacredness of the action that they're doing, to the point where they'll do things that they might do here or even worse. When we were in Hajj last year, we were coming to the last portion where you do you stone, right? To the last portion and the last action of the Hajj. This is the 3rd day, the Rami of the Jamrah. And we are basically just a few minutes away from completing our Hajj, correct? So you're going to be going, you're kind of missing the fact that you're going to complete now. You're going with humility. What do we see? We're walking. There's a Jamrah, and I see a man in front of him, and he's pulling another person's beard, and the other person is giving him a fist, and they're basically having a brawl right in front of us. And we have to move some of our the sisters because somebody can get hurt. Imagine that, in that state. So the point here is that the shaitan is there, and he is the biggest enemy. And just because you have gone to Mecca, Medina, doesn't mean you become an angel. You still have that shaitan that's going to whisper, but you're in the most holiest of places, and that's why you have to remind yourselves. That's why you got to stay busy in the worship, stay busy in dhikr, and remind yourself. So in the state of ihram, none of these things are done. And then we'll go more in detail. I'm going to go forward. Permissible acts. Okay, you can take a shower during the Umrah. If you're in your hotel, you can take your ihram off, you can take a shower. You have to put the ihram back on. You can change your ihram and get another one, but you still have to be in ihram, okay? And that does not break your Umrah, your ihram, the state of your ihram. Unscented soap, no problem. Unscented cream. Changing one's garments is fine. Injections, blood test, bandages, all good. sunglasses, okay, all of these things we can go over more. Now, when you go to sleep, yes, you can go to sleep, but don't cover your heads. And go to sleep, wrap yourself around a blanket, that's fine. All right? Wearing a belt, please do wear a belt. For the brothers, please bring Vaseline, okay? And we'll explain that later when we go, because if you don't, you're gonna regret it. You do a lot of walking, you'll realize what it is to walk around in a towel, basically. It's not fun, okay? So you have to be prepared for all that. All right, next thing. Where to put on ihram, again, we mentioned that there are miqats, and we will let you know where we're gonna do that. I'm gonna kind of have to go through it quickly because otherwise it's gonna take too much time. They show a picture here of the different miqats. Performing Umrah. When we go into Mecca, of course, in the state of humility, we talk about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. During the trip, we'll be talking about all of the virtues of the city of Mecca, Medina. You are going to be hearing myself and the other guides. We're going to be talking non-stop. Sheikh Dr. Harmush is here as well, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, mashallah. He's here. And he will be one of our guides as well. And he'll be continuously reminding us and guiding us. And inshallah, we'll be getting those reminders. So, look, it's not a sightseeing trip. Yes, you are going to be seeing many things, mashallah, and you are going to enjoy this trip, but this is not the whole niyyah that we're going with, that we're going to take pictures at this site, and we're going to go in this place and that place. We're going to change our lives, okay? So we're doing the talbiyah. Now, once you come into the Masjid al-Haram, this is one of the things I wanted to say. It's not like 100% written in stone that you have to do this. This is all a matter of basically, as some people say, it's an art. It's a state of emotion that when you get into, when you're going into the Masjid al-Haram, okay, this is the greatest, the most holiest place on earth. One salah in Masjid al-Haram is 100,000 times than any other salah anywhere else. 100,000, one sajda, imagine the reward. So people going in there are obviously, you're in a different state of mind. So when you come in, a lot of the leaders, a lot of guys, they say, you know what, you can look down. Look down so that as soon as you see the Kaaba for the first time, you're basically awestruck, you see it, and there's no feeling that can describe it, seeing it for the first time, subhanAllah. Many people are in tears, and then, you make a dua at that time, and inshallah ta'ala, Allah will accept your dua. That entire place is sacred. Du'as are accepted in entire area. We'll be continuously in dua, and at that point, basically, once you reach Masjid al-Haram, your talbiyah, you're going to stop. So, can we just go and start doing the tawaf? Of course. For every masjid, by the way, someone tell me, when you go to any masjid, what's the etiquette? What are you supposed to do? One person say it. Yes. Tahiyyatul masjid. Okay, you are giving that honor to that masjid. By performing the tahiyyah, you pray 2 rakat, and you can make dua, and that's the first thing you do in the masjid. That's the respect of that masjid. What do some people do? They come into the masjid, they look at the pillars, subhanAllah, look at the artwork, subhanAllah, this and that, let's go. It's not the way to do it. First thing you do is pray 2 rakats. Every masjid there's a tahiyyah for 2 rakats. Masjid al-Haram, what's the tahiyyah for Masjid al-Haram? Tawaf. The tawaf is the tahiyyah for Masjid al-Haram, although you will be praying 2 rakat there as well. So, to begin the Umrah, after you have, the first part of the Umrah is the Ihram. Now this is the second part, is to do the Tawaf, okay? Once you do the Tawaf, is 7 times. And we'll, again, like I said, we're going to do more and more in detail. But the Tawaf is basically, you're going around the Kaaba and you're in continuous dua. You're speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in dhikr and in recitation of the Quran, and that's what you are doing. And for those going in the first time, many scholars mention this as well, is that look, there is no ladha like the ladha and that taste of ibadah between you and your Creator. There is nothing like that. Doing things together in jama'ah, no doubt, the salah with jama'ah is greater reward, yes. But for example, the tahajjud, the night prayer, what a prayer it is when you're in the middle of the night. You are on that prayer rug or you're on the ground and there is no one around but you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is nothing like that. That connection that you have, that is the connection that we want. And this is why we say that the Umrah is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. we're not discouraging that you go in a group, you read a book together, and you follow along, and you do what the group does, that's fine. But wallah, there is nothing better, and the guides are there for that reason. If you've never done it, you don't know how to do it, we're going to show you, we're going to go with you. But again, it's not that you're going to stay together the whole time. And we're going to remind you there again, you never stay with a group. Many, you turn out as like 50 people, and then you basically end up with like 2-3 people, or maybe less. So as long as you've learned how to do it, it's very simple, and you cannot get lost. Back in the days when the hotels and the streets were very far and everything spread out, okay, maybe. But we are going to stay at the tallest hotel in the world. That you can't get lost. You look up, and that's the clock tower. That's where you're going to go. You get lost, go back into the clock tower and stay there. Don't get worried. But continue doing your tawaf, continue making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and continue to ask from Allah, okay? So we can do the whole umrah by yourself. So the first thing is the tawaf, you go around, and then after that is done, it is sunnah to pray the 2 rakat behind maqam Ibrahim. If you cannot pray exactly behind in this spot right here, some people will, you see the arrow, some people will do anything to pray right here. Whether they're, coming in between all of the people who are doing tawaf, that is not right. That is against the sunnah to cause harm to others. That's something we should know from now. What is the point? You are kissing the Hajar al-Aswad and you're elbowing someone, and I've seen people bleed. Ya Rabbil Alameen, what is this? People are pushing and shoving and kicking just to get to this, not knowing that the Prophet ﷺ said that the honor of the believer is more sacred than the Kaaba. The honor and respect of the believer is more sacred than this Kaaba, and here you are putting this, you're tackling and humiliating your Muslim brother or sister. So that is most important. Yes, we should all try to get to the Hajar al-Aswad if we can easily. If you cannot, you are at the Baytullah, you're at the Kaaba. Nobody can stop you from the Kaaba. That's the main thing, okay? So just to keep that in mind. Anyways, you pray your 2 rak'ah, that is the sunnah. So if you cannot pray here, you can pray anywhere in this area, or even if that's difficult, you can pray anywhere else. It should be behind the maqam Ibrahim. And then we continue. What do you do next? You go to the Zamzam. So the first part, and I'm going to skip this part because it's a little bit in detail. It's a certain way that you do the tawaf for the brothers, and then we're going to continue there. So the way you start is that, and I'm thinking right now because of the time, do we actually explain the whole umrah, because this might take a little bit of time? We'll just go over it. This is part of the tawaf, okay? How many of you are here that are not going for the umrah but would like to know the entire process? Okay, excellent. So basically you do istiqbal, you do istislam. Basically, when you start at the corner of Hajar al-Aswad, you say Bismillahi Allahu Akbar, okay? As if, firstly, you should try to kiss the Hajar al-Aswad and then start. But if that's difficult, you can actually point a stick to it. If that's difficult, which it is today, then you can just kiss your hand and point to it, and then you start your first. You start the tawaf, and the way you count is that when you do the whole circle, that's 1. And then you do the whole next circle, that's 2. And like this, you will stop at 7. Some people like to count on their fingers. Some people will have little clickers. And whatever, most people forget around 5, 6. It's okay if you forgot 1 or you did a little extra. It's always good to do 1 extra instead of doing 1 less, okay? So you say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, now you're doing tawaf. Now the thing in tawaf is that the Prophet ﷺ said tawaf is like salah, except that you may speak. Tawaf is like the salah, except that you may speak. So speak something good. And what do you say? What can you say? I mean, if you're meeting somebody, or if you're with someone, hey, let's take a break. Let's go in the corner. Let's sit. Let's pray there. Let's stop for a second. You can say those things, and you are making continuous dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are talking to Allah. You can do dhikr. You can recite Quran. Whatever it is, it should be from the heart. It should be from the heart. Okay? And this is the place where we connect to Allah. This is the place where we speak and we let all of our, we say in Urdu, tamam dukhre. How do you say it in English? Basically, all of your pain and your anxieties and every concern of yours you spill, you take out and say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. So this is the tawaf that you do. And let's see here. Again, the same. Continue. Okay, now just because you can speak does not mean that you're on a business call, with someone around the country. Yeah, I'm doing it, and you're basically doing something else. You are connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the house of Allah. Your heart should be there. A lot of people are, FaceTiming. Yeah, I'm on my 4th tawaf. Check this out. Look at me. Allahu Akbar, man. Where is the sincerity in that? I'm not saying or looking down, but seriously, if we're doing exactly what we're doing here, and we're so connected to our, social media and our life here, then how are we going to change, really? Because we all want to change in the positive manner. So we gotta be careful with some of those things. And by the way, I believe they have a new rule now, and especially Masjid al-Nabawi, when it comes to cell phones, I believe they have restrictions, a lot more, thank God, alhamdulillah, finally. And so you'll still be able to do, if you want to be able to capture some images, but when you're going to say salam, I believe there's different rulings. They changed it before I went, after I went, so I'm not exactly too sure, but we'll let you know once we get there, inshallah. All right. One of the main du'as you can say, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. And there are many other du'as. We will mention details, like I said, once we get there. Okay, a little bit of a Hajar al-Aswad, Maqam Ibrahim. These are the most blessed places, subhanAllah. Now, one thing that it's not mentioned here is that after the 2 rakat, one of the greatest blessings of Makkah, who can tell me, is one of the greatest blessings of Makkah that no other city has in the world, is the Zamzam. Ma'u Zamzam, okay? The water of Zamzam. And the Prophet ﷺ said that the Zamzam is whatever you drink it for. That in its blessings is so much that you make dua, and the dua you make while you're drinking, it is accepted. So make lots in dua and drink lots of Zamzam. And it is blessed. So you may put some water on your face, you may put it over yourself. It is blessed water, okay? And drink as much as you can over there, because, and we'll mention more and more hadith about it and the virtues of Zamzam in itself. So once you have done the Zamzam, then you go forward to the sa'i. And this is basically the last part of the Umrah. The sa'i, it is wajib in the Umrah. Without the sa'i, your Umrah is not done. So the first thing was the ihram, and the second part, the talbiyah, the tawaf, and then the sa'i. Okay, and the final part is that you cut your, you either do you trim or you shave, and that will complete your Umrah. So coming back to this now, the sa'i, performed by walking between Safa and Marwa. So now the walking there, many people have misunderstanding that one time is not one, but rather 2, and all of that. No, basically you start from Safa and you end at Marwa. So you go Safa to Marwa once, and then twice, then 3, and like that it ends at Marwa. Now one of the sunnahs that is most neglected is that people forget to make dua at the stop of at the beginning, when you start the Safa, you make dua. The Prophet ﷺ used to make lots of dua at one, long dua. So try to do as much as dua as you can in the beginning, and then you go to Marwa and you make dua, and like this you continue to make dua even during that time. We were going to talk in detail, inshallah, about how many duas and what duas to make. How do you continuously do this? And what will you do? Inshallah, we will get into detail of that once we get there. So you continuously do that. At the end of your sa'i, you are done. You may walk away, and now you go to, you go outside, you exit, and you will see many, many people ready to, what are they going to say? Halaq? Halaq, right? Halaq, yeah. Halaq, basically the one who's doing the halq, the one who's doing the shaving. So basically there's going to be hundreds of people out there, and they'll take you into, some secret place. I'm just kidding. They'll take you under the haram hotels, and basically you do your, you complete your umrah by shaving or by trimming, okay? So what do you do here? When you have completed one lap, you face the qibla, you make dua, and then you continue. And this is a little bit of a picture there. These are the ayat. Again, we'll go in more in detail. What is this here, the next part? This is the part where Hajara alayhi salam, when she came downhill, she sped up a little bit. So this part, we do the same as far as the brothers. They go a little quickly in this part. It's not like a race, but it's really you speed up a little bit and then you may stop here at this time. Trimming the hair is wajib to come out of the ihram. Okay? And although shaving is the best. Okay? Brothers ask, what if we only have a few hairs? Shave it off. Inshallah, you get the reward of doing the halq. Alhamdulillah. Alright? And once you are free, and the sisters also, to cut a portion of their hair. The difference of opinion is some scholars say that they should not do their own hair, and the other sisters who are done can do it for them, and some say that they can do their own hair. We will discuss that in detail as well, inshallah ta'ala. Alright, so this is the summary. Ghusl for ihram sunnah, 2 rakats before ihram sunnah. The intention, the talbiyah is fard. Tawaf with wudu is fard. 2 rakat after tawaf is wajib. The sa'i is wajib. And the taqsir, or to trim or to do halq, is wajib. These are the wajibat. Once you have done that, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your umrah. So the Prophet ﷺ, when he did his umrah, many of the scholars say that he did 1 umrah at a time. He did not do, in his entire life, it recorded that he did 4 umrahs. But at one time, the Prophet ﷺ being there, he did not do more than 1 umrah. And that does not mean though that you should only do 1 umrah itself, but this is especially for the people that go there and believe that it's just umrah after umrah after umrah to continue doing that. No, it's not like that. Right? One is, according to some scholars, they say, like Imam Malik rahimahullah mentioned, that to do more than 1 the azma, the greatness, it's not there, it doesn't stay. So therefore, if you're doing that 1 umrah, do it with your heart, take your time, and don't worry about how many more umrahs you want to do. The thing that we should be doing in the haram, the majority of the time, of course, after the 5 times salah, is the tawaf. The tawaf of the Kaaba. Continue doing the tawaf as many times as you can do so. Okay? So this, and then the Zamzam water, it talks about the hadith and the fadail of that and the du'as that you should recite. What to do in Mecca. Again, this is going to be discussed there. We are also going to be doing ziyarat. We are also going to be doing visitations of all of the holy sites of Mecca, at least the main ones. And then also in Madinatul Munawwara, we're going to be doing the same thing, inshallah ta'ala. And then it talks about the city of Medina, which is one of the most blessed cities, of course. And we're going to go to the Rawda of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, the tomb where the Prophet ﷺ is lying is considered by many scholars as the most holiest place. There's actually, of course, we know the Kaaba, the Baytullah, but there's actually a discussion in the books of hadith as to which place is more holier, which place is more sacred, subhanAllah. That is because of Habibullah, the Prophet ﷺ, being in that special place. And now the great thing is that we are going at a time when it's least crowded. If you go to Hajj and you try to get into the Rawda, you're going to be waiting for 5 days or 3 days. You know, like those people who wait outside for the video game to come out, or Black Friday, they're there for 3 days. Worse than that. You'll be in times of Hajj. But in this time that we're going, mashallah, it'll be very simple. I mean, it won't be simple. It's going to be a struggle. It'll be a lot easier than during the Hajj. You might have to wait 2 hours, 3 hours. But the salah in the Rawda, the Prophet ﷺ said, مَا بَيْنَ مِنْبَرِ وَبَيْتِ رَوْضَةٌ مِّن رِيَاضِ الْجَنَّةِ, that whatever is between my minbar and between my grave, it is the garden of the gardens of paradise. That piece of land is a garden of paradise. There are many different understandings that we take from that. And one of those is that this place is actually a garden from paradise, or that it will become on the Day of Judgment. Go to that. And there's other, again, like I said, if we go into detail, we can talk a lot. There's actually 5 or 6 different views about that. But the point is, the dua and the salah in that place is never rejected. People make dua there. They have said that we have seen the effect of that dua in their entire lives. And this is why people line up and they wait to pray there. It's unbelievable how crowded that place, just to pray in that place. And people are looking around, they see the what do we call it in English, man? What do you say, jalia? What do you say? The grill. Although the grill itself is not, the the part that is sacred, but people are so they're so much in awe of that place that people are like kissing it, and they're just like, this is where the Prophet ﷺ is, and Abu Bakr, Umar radiallahu anhu are residing. This is the house of the Prophet ﷺ and the mother of believers. SubhanAllah, we're here at that place. People are just going crazy there. But be careful, don't let your emotions go out. Some people just do anything. One of the sisters was saying that, one time they let this, because there's different timings for sisters and different timings for brothers. We all have our time that we can go visit and say salat and salam upon the Prophet ﷺ. So one of the sisters was saying that when they opened the gate for the sisters and they went in, there's a sign there that says, I believe it says the wudu area or the for the washroom, and it has it in different languages. So this sister went in and she was so excited, she just started kissing the signs as well, because some of it was in Arabic. She didn't know what it was saying. She started kissing that as well. So be careful that, of course, we are excited and we're overwhelmed, but make sure you know what you're doing, and watch your behavior and all of those things. So inshallah, I believe we are going to conclude here only because of time, and we can keep going about Madinatul Munawwara. We're also going to, by the way, visit Masjid al-Quba, of course, al-Baqi' al-Gharqad, Jannatul Baqi', as it's called, the graveyard in which more than 10,000 Sahaba reside, including the third Khalifa Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anh, and the family of the Prophet ﷺ resides there, and we're going to visit that as well. Masjid al-Quba, we try to go with wudu and go. Anybody who goes with wudu, prays 2 rakat salah in this masjid, it's as if you have gotten the reward of an umrah. That is how great it is. And this is near the houses of Ali and Fatima radiallahu anhuma. Okay, so this, we're going to go, and many other places as well. We'll be going inshallah. So we're all excited. And again, there's a lot more to say, but because of the time, we're going to go all in detail as we get closer. We're also going to be visiting the place of Uhud, where the battle of Uhud happened, and again, many, many places. So we should be very much excited, and again, if you're thankful, you do what is the best thing. You observe all of the etiquettes, okay? All of the etiquettes, try to observe them, try to be respectful as you can, and love the places you're going, and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put the love of those places, and to not let you complain, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to go there many times in the future, inshallah ta'ala. So we're going to stop here, and we're going to ask if anybody has any type of questions, and then we're going to go into the logistics with Brother Tayyib, and then we'll conclude our program, inshallah. Please. You want me to introduce? Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Sheikh Harmoush is with us, and I'd like to introduce him, although I do a horrible job in introducing. First and foremost, I've known him since my childhood to be the Sheikh of my masjid and the Imam of the Walnut Masjid. As I grew up, I'm continuously learning from him, and I'm honored that he's with us. And so, alhamdulillah, he is very active in our communities, and he was the Imam of the Yoruba Linda Masjid as well.
Sheikh Harmoush is also will be going with us, along with Dr. Qadi, Sheikh Obair. So he just a few minutes, he just wanted to explain the things, and then I'll talk about logistics.
Thank you very much, brothers. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa afdal as-salatu wa atamu at-taslim ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Dear brothers and sisters, I am here to congratulate all the brothers and sisters who are going, inshallah, for this special journey with such company and organization. And for me, it's not the first time with Brother Tayyib, and alhamdulillah, it's unforgettable. What I want to say just briefly, that it is invitation by special call, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He told us, وَأَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ, complete and perfect as much as you can your Hajj and Umrah for the love of Allah. And you are saying, yes, Ya Allah, I am coming. And carrying all your burdens, all what you have been doing. And here you're going to the most generous, most forgiving, most merciful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to express your need. To say, here I am, Ya Allah. Labbaik. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Ya Allah, here I am your servant. Not from here, from his very beloved house. And in fact, next to his beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The spirit of understanding this journey and what we are doing is really what makes the difference. It is all the rituals that Jazallah Khair, Imam Abir explained very well. It's a rituals, obligations, must do, sunnah, etc. But the inner self, admission and regret, tawbah and demands. Tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, demands from Allah what you want for the rest of your life. Not only for this dunya, but for the dunya and the akhirah. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. That's what you are going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. That most beloved dua to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. أكثروا, say it more often. And then to ask whatever that you want of the worldly affair and the akhirah affair. Dear brothers and sisters, Brother Obair, Jazakallah Khair, mashallah, did a wonderful job. I don't want to take too much time. I know there is some logistic we need to talk about, and there is food waiting. But inshallah, we will have wonderful journey. Healthy, keep yourself healthy, spiritually healthy. As the brother said, you have very limited time. And fill it with all kind of dhikr and dua and demands from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in the hadith, أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي bi. I am as you are hoping for from Allah. What you are hoping for from Allah. What you're thinking about Allah. Allah will compensate you, will return it to you. In your iman, in your health, in your family, in your every aspect of your this dunya, and inshallah it will be high reward in the akhirah. More than that, inshallah, we'll elaborate more when we meet over there in Mecca and in Medina and in between, and whenever you have a chance to ask, our information available, and inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy, will make it safe, will make it healthy, and we'll come back. Let's have all that high hopes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as inshallah with our management and our shuyukh. May Allah bless you. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh Harmush. I just wanted to say, after Brother Tayyib is done, we'll just do a really quick dua, inshallah, for the deceased of the brothers and sisters today that we had the recitation for, and there was a couple of requests of dua, so we'll complete with the dua, inshallah, and then we'll go out.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Harmush and Sheikh Obair, for their beautiful advices and the presentation. Once we are done, the people who are going for the Umrah, we're going to call the name one by one. You can go and pick up your packet and your Umrah kit over there. And just a few things to remind you. We're going to arrive, inshallah, Medina first with the entire group. We have a whole team in Medina to receive you. And we have got a different, like, say we have got 8 buses going to come there because we have a big group, mashallah, coming together, about 275 people, you know. So this time what we have done it, we have designated your ID card lane rate in a different color. Like if you're wearing a red color, you go to red bus. If you're wearing a blue color, go to blue bus. So on, so like that way, you know. Secondly, our first group is going to arrive, I think, on 23rd, and our group from LA going to arrive on 24th. Now, since they are all flying on with Saudi airline, and they are connecting from Jeddah to Medina, there will be 2 flights, you know. So don't worry about it. They're all going together from here, but from Jeddah to Medina, they cannot take so many people in one flight. So they divided in 2 flights. Like Sheikh Harmoush, his wife, I'm sorry, he's in one flight, his wife is in a second flight, because we couldn't find the seat in the first flight actually, But they're going to arrive all in the same time. But coming back from Jeddah to LA, they all are together because there's a flight like that, If you have any question, you can make a note of it. I can definitely address that. But let's finish the whole session and do on everything, then we can talk about that. Thank you very much.
So does anybody have any questions? Or we can just make dua. Anybody have any questions regarding the Umrah? Yeah.
As a group, okay, first of all, at Los Angeles Airport, Saudi will be opening a separate group under Accra Travel. So they have advised us to be at the airport at least 4 hours before. And most of us who live in Southern California, the traffic, especially going 105, the moment you take the exit, sometimes takes about 45 minutes to go to the terminal building, So please, and try to commute together if you're living, nearby. Don't take, because it is always a hassle at the airport over there, Anybody else any other question?
We are going to have a WhatsApp group, but be advised that we use that WhatsApp group only usually in Makkah or Medina. We already have made one. The reason last year we had a very bad experience because as soon as we made the group, some people went on it and they started communicating, and the things they were saying is as if they've never traveled before, they don't know what to do, as if they have no idea. So we're going to have Brother Tosif, who's going to explain a little bit about this group chat, and the whole reason of making it is for the ease and comfort for the rest of the group. Inshallah, he'll give details.
And also this time we have arranged like a session of the Sweden lectures by Dr. Qadi, Brother Obair, and Sheikh Harmoush. And for that we have taken a special permission in Medina and Makkah. So every day we're going to have a session, just to be informed with that. Okay, Tosif, who's my son, and he organized everything, so he can tell you more about the WhatsApp group,
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So one very important detail about WhatsApp is no one can talk in it. Good. So no one can talk in it, only because a lot of people ask questions like, what should I do right now, or what time is it? There's not important questions on WhatsApp. WhatsApp meant is for all the important messages by our imams or group leaders. So if you have any important questions, the numbers are there, what to do, you can reach us directly, privately, not in the WhatsApp group. In your packet, there will be a page for contacts, and there's a barcode over there for the group invitation. Just scan the barcode on your phone, and you can join the group automatically. So everyone must have WhatsApp downloaded and joined if you want to know what's going on in the group. That's about it, yeah.
Any other questions? Anybody has any other questions?
From women's side, any questions from anybody?
Okay, that's fine.
So I think we have.
All right, so a couple of requests for dua. Inshallah, we'll make one dua and try to keep these names. Brother Aminul Tariq, who just passed away last Tuesday, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive his sins. We remember in your dua also Sister Aliya Begum, who passed away in Dhaka in Bangladesh. Brother Rafi Hussain just came to me and said about his uncle, name is Brother Mazhar Jalil. He recently passed away. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the maghfirah for all of these brothers and sisters. I would request Sheikh Harmoush to make dua.
اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وادخلهم فسيح جناتك مع الذين لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون اللهم إن كانوا مسيئين فبدل سيئاتهم حسنات وإن كانوا محسنين فزد في حسناتهم يا رب العالمين اللهم وسع مدخلهم وأعلي منزلتهم واجعلهم مع الذين لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون مع الصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا اللهم اغسلهم بالثلج والماء والبرد ونقهم من الخطايا والذنوب كما ينقى الثوب الأبيض من الدنس اللهم لا تحرمنا أجرهم ولا تفتنا بعدهم واغفر لنا ولهم ولأمواتنا وأموات المسلمين أجمعين اللهم ألهم أهلهم وذويهم الصبر والسلوان وعوضهم خيرا في الدنيا والآخرة يا رب العالمين اللهم ارحمنا إذا صرنا إلى ما صاروا إليه تحت الأرض يا رب العالمين اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك يا ربنا سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات لا إله إلا أنت سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank everyone for being here. May Allah bless you all. Inshallah, we're going to go for the dinner outside. And for those of us that are, please see Brother Tayyib at the table and pick up your visas and your ihram. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.